Good evening, friends. Thank you for tuning in, even though one of our hosts is a fucking idiot, talks way too much shit. Don't know why we started this podcast, except to make me look stupid. Welcome to week 3 of fantasy football and week 3 of the Massillon Fantasy League. I'm Ryan. He's Dan. Doesn't matter. All hail Greg. How you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing great. I've had a great week. I don't know about you.
It's been terrible. Let's be clear. The week's not that bad, but I've had to live with losing to Greg, and that's a problem for me.
Well, what's funny is actually my week's been pretty much terrible, so it's quite opposite. But
well, there you go.
I didn't lose to Greg, so I guess my week's still better than yours.
Yeah, I mean, let me get the standings up on the screen, and then we can get into these problems. So
not that like I won, I lost, but I lost to someone who has a good team.
So, as it stands, I got the top 8 on the screen. Top 6 make the playoffs. Horvath and JR are our last 2 undefeated teams. That's actually one of the notes I have for the notes of the week. Rob P, leading scorer and most points against. So that's a hell of a season start for Rob P there, Dan. But yeah, let's just kick this thing off. I'll leave the standings up on the screen for a little bit. Yeah, my team sucks. I can't seem to get this shit right. I think there's probably a rebound coming. I just need to hope it comes a little bit faster than last year. I don't want to put myself in the same situation I was in last year where I keep trying to buy wins and give all my draft picks away. Not a fun situation. But more importantly, Dan, I know we started this show to talk shit. And we did it so much, we got Brian to leave the league. Greg has taken a completely other route. And while we have shit talked Greg for 393 consecutive days at this point, he's just gone to make the playoffs and beat me, and motherfucker, things just seem to fall this guy's way. Fuck Jared Goff, Dan. Fuck Jared Goff is my first lesson from week 1.
Yeah. You and Chicago can all agree on that.
Yeah, that was just wild. My favorite moment of the game, and I'm using favorite so very loosely here. Amon-Ra St. Brown scored a touchdown at like 2:46. And then I wiped that notification because I hate everything. And then I got another notification at 2:50 that said Amon-Ra St. Brown scored a touchdown. And I was like, did I just get the same notification? No, Dan. He scored another touchdown, and they just kept throwing the ball, even though they didn't have to. What the hell, man?
My entire weekend last weekend revolved around hockey. I literally got to watch pretty much zero football.
Yeah.
So while that was happening, I think I was at a game. I was in Euclid, so over an hour plus away from him. I had not watched anything, had no idea what was going on. So I didn't know that Jared Goff was having this monster day until you started putting stuff out there in the message board. I was like, oh, I'm just trying to check those and see what's happening. And made me smile. Thank you. Greg, I'm proud of you. Great job. Makes me so happy to see Ryan lose. Especially to watch him run his mouth and then lose. Like, that's icing on the cake. Ryan losing any week is a good week for me. Ryan running his mouth as much as he ran it and then to lose.
I called it a bye week, Dan.
It was for Greg.
I hate fantasy football. Dan, let's get this out of the way at the top. I think I have to penalize him this year, but do we need to look at this for next year? If you don't fix your lineup and you win, should I not dock you the lottery point? You're gambling on yourself.
Here's the thing. It's not his fault. I mean, it's not. The rule is the rule. Whether you go against a terrible team or not.
Okay. I agree. I'm just saying, do we need to look at it for next year? Because, like, I'll use Taylor as an example, and this might be a reason why we don't do this. Taylor was talking about not starting a kicker for the first, 3 weeks if he thought he could win to hold on to his assets. And I actually think he's going to do it this week.
He already updated his roster. He has.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there goes that. But regardless, because we allow people to be over the roster limit, Taylor had talked about this. And I'm just like, if you win, the rule is to stop tanking. If you win, the rule doesn't need to be in place. But I agree. Right now, the rule is the rule. We're not. It just, as Stevie would love to point out, it might need to go to a vote at the end of this season on if you win, do we not dock you the lottery point? Greg's losing the lottery point. That's been the rule. You had 2 tight ends, man. You started 2 tight ends. fucking fix it. Like, dude was out 72 hours before the game.
So what's more embarrassing to you?
Losing to Greg
that you ran your mouth so hard about, or losing to somebody that didn't even start a lineup?
That's happened to me before. So just, God, the circumstances of that fucking game, of all of it. We've spent too much time on my team, more than we ever spend on these shows.
No, we are not spending enough time on your team. I could spend this entire show just talking about this one matchup and how much joy it brought to probably not only me, but most of this league.
So almost all of I would say all of the league. There's no way everybody was not happy to see me lose that matchup. I'm the only person who wasn't happy, plain and simple. Dan, 2 trades last week. One of them happened literally 30 minutes ago or 40 minutes ago. I got Darren to pay me a 2 for Tyrone Tracy. Immediately after Darren did it, he expressed mild buyer's remorse through text message. Got him to pay me a 2 for Tyrone Tracy, and then Taylor turns around and flips Dylan Sampson for a 5. Any thoughts on those?
Sampson for a 5 is a good trade. I think Sampson has potential, but Junkins, I think, will eventually take over that job. But he could also just end up in jail. So
I was shocked at how the Browns used their running back in Judkins' first week. I assumed Jerome Ford would die and Sampson would be fine in the passing game. Ford and Judkins had more targets than Sampson. I don't think that continues all season, but I thought that was weird for the first game for Judkins.
See, I disagree that it continues also. I think that's what it's going to look like. I don't know. I think maybe Sampson has a game or two.
Oh, so you think Taylor won by getting a 5 out of him?
I mean, here's the thing. Sampson right now is 2 games into his career. He's a lottery ticket. You don't know what he's going to be.
Okay.
But with Junkins there, I think Junkins is going to take over that job. I could be completely wrong. Sampson had a good week against I shouldn't say good week. He had a lot of targets. I mean, he averaged 2 yards a carry week 1. He had 2 yards a carry. He wasn't outstanding.
Yeah.
I think that the Tracy trade, I mean, I don't know. I was quite shocked. I didn't see that coming. I was waiting for the rest of the trade to come through.
Darren came at me wanting him. I didn't want to move him. Darren offered me a 3. I countered with a 2. Darren did a couple of other counters. I said, nah, I'm just going to hold on to the running back depth. Darren immediately goes, okay, I'll take the 2 and sends the trade through. So
I don't know if you caught it, but Sleeper actually put your trade on their social media and said, who won this trade? And Tracy's mom commented on it and said, that's a terrible trade for him. I wouldn't even trade a 2 for my own son.
Wild trade. I feel like this is back-to-back years because I got Darren to give me that 1 for Mahomes last year. It's going to reach a point where Darren's going to stop trading with me. And then, Dan, the last thing I wanted to point out, parity in this league. After 2 weeks, we are down to 2 undefeated teams, 2 winless teams. And I got to say, Dan, for this week's matchups, making the picks sucked. It was hard, Dan. Like, every one of these games could be very, very close this week.
I feel like if we watch the tape of our first episode, one of us said, I think this is a lot of parity in this league this year.
Look at you.
You might have said that.
You might have said that. And Greg's out here winning games. Dan, I made one change to my my playoff predictions. Steve Horvath does earn my respect as the top guy in the league. I said I wasn't sure if he was going to get in. JJ McCarthy, turns out we were right about him, Horvath. We didn't need to believe. But Horvath is getting things done. I gave him Taylor's spot. I knocked Taylor out of the playoffs. Taylor is 14th in the league, fewest points, no wins. Gave him Horvath's spot, or gave Horvath his spot. So my playoffs remain the same outside of Taylor, Horvath in, and I'm giving the championship to Stevie still at this point.
I am also taking Taylor out of my playoffs. I'm putting Rob in. Rob P.
That's right. You didn't have him in to begin with.
So. I did not. Actually, I don't think I had JR in either. I think I had you. I still have you in over JR. You know, JR is 2-0. I'm not a big believer in JR. He's only 2-0 with a point differential of like 7 points.
Yeah.
So that could easily.
I did have JR in my like bottom 3 teams, so I don't know how much I believe in that take now with him being 2-0.
Correct. He might be better than what we thought.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think he's a playoff team at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how many wins I predicted for JR. I predicted JR to win 3 matchups. So if that holds, I should only predict him to win one more the rest of the season. And spoiler alert, that might be this week. So we'll see how that goes. Dan, those are my news, my notes, my playoff predictions. Anything you want to add before we get into the picks?
Losing your most important fantasy player and your favorite NFL player on your favorite NFL team sucks.
Indeed.
That sucks. That ruins your day. And then you lose by like 6 points on top of it.
Because
your
guy only got to throw 1 touchdown pass.
Only got to play 1 quarter, where if he played the rest of that game, I'm very confident I win last week.
Oh, I'm extremely confident considering what your boy came in and did, Jake Browning. So
yeah, throwing 3 touchdowns himself. So that just hurts. The pain is real.
Yeah, I thought about you a lot this past week, and it has led to some of my questions for today's episode. I mean, one question, basically, how are we going to handle those wide receivers? But we'll get to that in a second. I'm doing it like I've been doing it because it just makes scrolling so much easier. Me versus Terry to kick the show off, Dan. I got a dud. 3 points out of the Buffalo defense. I cannot pick a defense this season. Terry got some studs, mainly Josh Allen. 23 points, and then another 14 points out of Jalen Waddle. Nice night for Terry. Projected to win in Sleeper by 5 points. Dan, as always, it's my game. I'll let you get it started.
I think it's going to be a close matchup.
That's how I feel about the first 5 picks tonight.
I don't love either. Here's the thing. I don't love either of the receivers in either matchup, in either side of this. You have the advantage in tight end. Him getting 14 out of Waddle is nice for him.
Yeah.
I don't expect Herbert to have as good of a game against Denver. I would like to have seen Allen do a little bit more because I think he's capable of more than 23 against a terrible Miami team.
Yeah, I thought so too. I don't want to say happy about it, but I certainly wasn't sad.
No, you're happy with that. I don't love the Ravens defense going against Detroit for Terry. I've gone back and forth with this all day.
I said this is the longest and hardest you've ever thought about a pick on this show.
I'm gonna go Terry.
Okay, I literally wrote my name down mainly because every note you gave, Dan, is my notes for why I'm picking my team. I mean, word for word, the shit you said is basically on my notes. But I said I'm going to ride with my team because I do have it close. I'm not going to add anything to this game. There's nothing to add. I hate Terry's wide receivers. I always hate Terry's wide receivers. But the fact of the matter is this: Terry has possibly studs at running back. Ashton Genty not living up to the hype right now. Derrick Henry certainly didn't live up to the hype last week. Both me and Terry need these players that we paid so well for to step up. I'm sure Terry would pick himself. I'm picking me. That's how the game's going. Phil, 1-1, taking on Eric, 1-1. Sleeper loves Phil this week, predicting a 14-point win. Eric gets 4 points out of Keon Coleman. I'll go ahead and get us started on this one. I'm actually going Eric again. Another close matchup. We've heard it before. When matchups are close, I always go with the starting quarterback. And in this situation, I'm going to take Jalen Hurts against Jordan Love. Even going up against the Browns, I think the Browns defense can maybe give Love a little bit of a hard time. His best weapons hurt right now. And I mean, Tucker Kraft, not Jaden Reed. Tucker Kraft's hurt. He's going to play in the game. But for me, if Kraft was 100%, that would also favor Eric's team, even though it would also help with the Jordan Love part of this. So I wish I would feel more confident picking Eric if Kraft was 100%, Dan. I'm still going to pick him. It's still very close. I don't feel confident about most of my picks this week.
So I did not watch, like I said, any football last weekend. Where are we at with Isaiah Pacheco? Like, why is he not getting the work? What are they doing?
It's the offense they're running. Right now, they're stuck in the mud. It's not like they're giving the work to anybody else. Kareem Hunt's playing more than you thought Kareem Hunt would play. Most people I respect in this industry say that this is the week for Pacheco. Either he pops this week against a bad Giants rush defense, or we start to see that rookie Brashard Smith.
Interesting. I am going to go with Eric to take the win on just the fact that Cleveland, while Cleveland's a terrible overall football team, I think their defense is actually legit. I know Baltimore ended up kind of taking it to them pretty good at the end of the game. And the first half of that game was closer. I think Cleveland's defense is legit. I think you could see the Packers and Phil start to struggle a little bit to start that game with Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs in there for him.
Yeah, I'm just realizing how much Cleveland Green Bay we have in this game. Obviously not a big surprise with the Cleveland fans in our league, but we got Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft, Jerry Jeudy, all in this game. Nothing on defense though. So those four pieces, a lot of that game in this game. And Dan, that's not a game I'm trying to buy too heavily into.
I think it's gonna be a low scoring game.
JR, one of only 2-0 teams left in the league. Nobody played for either of these teams on Thursday night. Rob Mott's projected to win this matchup 110-107. Dan, I'll go ahead and get us started here. I broke it down the way I always break it down. I go position by position. I gave this win to JR. I said the whole matchup comes down to 3 players. Bijan Robinson versus Juwan Jennings and Juwan Johnson and Travis Etienne. I think everything else cancels each other out. I do think Bijan's going to have a nice game, but I think Juwan and Etienne give JR enough of an advantage that he's going to be able to pull it out. Again, super close. And if Bijan goes nuclear on Carolina, this is going to look really, really dumb. But right now I'm picking JR. By the way, everyone, I told Dan this before the show started. I didn't mention. I and Darren went 2-5 last week. Dan went 4-3. Me and Dan are now tied with 8 correct picks. Darren's one behind us with 7. Just throwing that out there for everyone in case you're trying to figure out whose picks you should follow. We all kind of suck at it. But Dan, I think Bijan Robinson should have a nice game, but I think there are enough good players on JR's side to keep that in check. I'm picking JR here.
I don't like Kyler Murray going against the 49ers defense. I'd like to see Rob start Caleb Williams there. I don't think Rob watches this, so I don't think he's going to see this or make any of those changes.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Dallas versus Chicago is one of my favorite games for fantasy this week, and I think that's a game Rob should be taking advantage of if he has the opportunity.
Yeah, I am gonna go Rob though, just because I think his running backs could both have just monster games. Some terrible defenses.
So I think that's totally fair. They're 2 of my favorite backs this week. So
close matchup. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Rob there.
There we go. Every year, Dan, we have 2. There can be only one Highlander matchups. We have Rob versus Rob. We have Steve versus Steve. Rob versus Rob is not this week. Steve versus Steve is this week. Both had some nice Thursday night action. We got 25 points on Horvath's side, 13 coming from Tyreek Hill, 12 coming from Khalil Shakir. We got 19 on Horvath's side, all 19 coming from James Cook. Right now, this game is projected literally 1/10 of a point. Did I say Rob? I meant to say Steve. It's Steve versus Steve. I think I was saying Rob was getting points. I'm an idiot. But regardless, 1/10 of a point, Dan. This is one of the closest projections I've ever seen. Quarterback matchup is interesting because Bryce Young does not look great, but man, does he look good in garbage time. And that's what Horvath is relying on now with losing J.J. McCarthy. I'll let you get us started on this one.
I don't understand why Horvath and Taylor, because it came out before Wednesday that there was a chance that Daniels wasn't going to play.
Yeah.
And Horvath had McCarthy and knew he wasn't going to play. That neither one of them went after Daniel Jones more. That's why I put the bid in for him at $120-some. I put it at.
Yeah.
I thought for sure Daniel Jones being the number 2 quarterback in fantasy, people were going to bid on him. I mean, Horvath put $10 on.
People are afraid of Daniel Jones still, man. They're not buying into what we've seen so far, and I think that might be a mistake.
I understand not buying it. I do. Daniel Jones has not been consistent in his life. He's had good seasons. He had a top 10 year one time in New York. Maybe they figured it out with the Colts, maybe not. But I don't understand Horvath having as good of a team as he has, settling on Bryce Young as his quarterback at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, That just shocked me. I mean, I want to pick Horvath to win this game because the rest of his team is just so good. But my goodness, quarterback is such a bad spot for him.
So you
and
go.
Atlanta's defense is to me, it looks like, I don't think they're going to put up a ton of fantasy points for a defense, but they look like a good NFL defense.
Well, they're number 2 fantasy defense right now in standard scoring defensive league. Yeah.
Well, then I sound like an idiot.
No, I mean you're right there. They may not put it up this week. I thought you meant this week specifically, but no, they are the number 2 fantasy defense. Those 2 pass rushers, those 2 rookie pass rushers they added back to back, looking pretty good for them already in 2 games.
I don't trust Justin Jefferson with the quarterback situation. He hasn't looked great this year so far. I'm actually going to go with Stevie to take the win. Just on that alone. I mean, if you can't have a terrible quarterback play and then have your best player on your team put up a dud and think you're going to keep winning against good teams.
And Dan, that was the question of the show I wanted to ask you, because Horvath has not only the Justin Jefferson side of this, but Horvath is benching T. Higgins this week for Ramondre Stevenson. And so with you being the resident Bengals fan, I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and we'll throw Justin Jefferson in there, but focus on the Bengals because that's your expertise. What are your thoughts on these 2 guys with Jake Browning in there for potentially the next 3 months, Dan, which is the rest of the fantasy season?
They're going to be just fine. I don't know if you remember 2 years ago when Burrow broke his wrist. Browning came in and went 4-3 as a starter. And let me tell you, I was going against Taylor when he had Jamar Chase on Monday Night Football. When I can still see Jamar Chase running down the field to score 35 points that week when I went into Monday night up by 30 and lose with Jake Browning as his quarterback.
Yeah.
T. Higgins and Jake Browning are they're not going to have the same numbers they had with Burrow, but they're still going to have good numbers and good games. T. Higgins, he had a touchdown last week that came from Browning.
Yep.
I had another deep catch, I think, as well. And especially for last week, Browning got thrown in. I think there's a difference when you're going to practice all week knowing you're playing versus going into a game not expecting to play.
I agree.
So I think Higgins and Chase are going to be fine. I trust Browning more than Wentz at this point.
I did my research on this. Jamar Chase was still pacing as a top 10 wide receiver in his career with Jake Browning. The only issue is you didn't draft him to be a 10 receiver. You drafted him to be a 1 receiver. The other problem is it's pacing. It's a lot of roller coaster, good games and bad games. And a lot of that could just be the defense choosing which one of these 2 weapons they want to take out, because a lot of people pointed out on my other shows this week that T. Higgins actually paced for better numbers than Jamar Chase during that season you were talking about. So should be interesting. I'm not worried about them either. So now I'll just put you on the spot. Would you start T. Higgins over Ramondre Stevenson?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And we both pick Steve Weiss to win the matchup. I'm not saying that one move would have changed anything, but I do find that interesting, Dan, as we move on to your matchup with my brother, who is live in the chat right now. You guys had nobody going this past week. Taylor is 0-2, last place in the league. Dan, you are projected to win this matchup by 3 points. I'll get us started since it's your matchup, and I just have to say, I giggled a little bit when I saw that this was Danny fucking Dimes, Indiana Jones versus Sam Darnold. From your 2 teams, last week, this matchup was supposed to be Jaden Daniels versus Joe Burrow. This feels very, very different. Now, in fantasy, this could work out great for you guys. Darnold is actually my stream of the week at quarterback. As you mentioned, Daniel Jones is doing his damn thing. This was another crazy close one, Dan. But one thing that has grown on me over these last 2 weeks is your motherfucking wide receiver room. I'm in love with it. I think Rome Odunze might be one of the best wide receivers in fantasy right now. I'm thinking back to last year, Dan, where we were lumping Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze together. Neighbors seemed to have jumped out to this lead, but Odunze seems to be growing into his role right now. I do think Taylor would have had a better chance, maybe would have even won. If he did have Jaden Daniels, I could say the same thing about you with Joe Burrow. But as the matchup stands, I'm giving a lot of your edge to Rome Odunze, and that's why I'm picking you to win this week.
I take pride next. I was targeting Odunze. I really wanted him in the draft. He was someone who I felt I have him in multiple leagues. someone I felt like he was going to have a big year this year.
Yeah.
When you look at the number, I mean, he didn't put up great numbers last year, but the targets were there, which meant Chicago was game planning him. He was getting open. Williams wasn't great last year. Maybe Williams is taking a step this year. Chicago's defense might be like one of the worst defenses in the history of football. So they're going to have to keep throwing and keep putting up points to stay in games.
Yep.
So I expect Odunze just to have a monster year.
Yep. Well, not even just a monster year. You look at this week, that Dallas game for the Sunday games has the highest over-under of any slate, and the two teams are actually projected to they're the only matchup on the week where both teams are projected to score over 24 points. I think this is just one of the better games you want to be involved in. It goes back to what you were saying about Rob Motz. I think you should be starting Caleb Williams, and I think Odunze gives you the advantage.
Yeah, I'm predicting myself to win as well. I think Swift is questionable. Smith and Jigwa's sick now. He's questionable.
Yeah, that's rough.
You just don't know what you're going to get out of Sam Darnold, in my opinion. I know he's your stream of your week, but he's scored 12 points on the season. Like, he could have a monster game. Absolutely in the realm of possibility.
We depressed quarterback scoring a little bit. He was a little better than that last week in regular scoring, but I'm guessing all 12 of his points came last week, and that's exactly what happened. We obviously we depressed quarterback scoring a little bit in this league, but yeah, you're not wrong. He was terrible in week 1, got a little better in week 2, and I think he can have a little bit of a better game at home this week. So
and he very well could. He could outplay Daniel Jones. But if you're asking me who I'd rather have going into the day, I'd rather have Jones.
Oh, 100%. All right, Dan. Second to last matchup, we got Rob P taking on Darren. Darren is the other 0-2 team. Rob P sitting at 1-1. Rob P projected to win this matchup with 14 points, despite Darren having 19 in the books already. Devon Achane gets him 12.5, and Matt Prater, his kicker, gets him another 7 on Thursday Night Football. Go ahead and get us started here, Dan. What do you think?
I'm taking Rob P. I think his team is coming together. I mean, Neighbors looks like a monster.
Yep.
I think Ty Warren is a great pick. Him and his rookie receivers. He goes for him every year. And Buka looks great.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson putting up big numbers. Bo Nix he did better last week, but the inconsistency. The Chargers defense has played well. I don't love that matchup. I don't like Warren, so I'm gonna go with Rob to take an easy win here.
That's pretty much what my notes say. Is this is the first one where I feel pretty comfortable about this. I don't mean to poke fun at Darren. We know it doesn't work out for me when I poke fun at people, but he trades for Tyrone Tracy, and he still doesn't make the starting lineup. You got Jalen Warren starting over him. I like Jalen Warren a lot. I don't even know that Darren needed to make that trade that he made. Certainly didn't need to give up a 2, but that's neither here nor there. Lamar Jackson and Malik Neighbors was enough for me, Dan. The rest of this matchup, I like Rob P side regardless, but then he just gets a major edge to me at quarterback and obviously wide receiver 1, because right now Ladd McConkey not quite looking like a wide receiver 1 there for the Chargers. They're spreading the ball out quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a little disappointed in him. He's another guy I had big expectations for going into this season.
Yep. I mean, I'm happy to see Keenan Allen ball out, my second favorite player of all time behind Mike Evans. Not all time. My second favorite active player behind Mike Evans. Then we wrap things up with the man, the myth, the legend, Greg Travis, taking on last year's champion, Kenny, the afterthought in this matchup. Both teams 1-1. This matchup actually projected to be within 3 points. Dan, Greg was able to drop 14 on the Thursday night matchups, and that is 100% Dalton Kincaid. Greg going with the double tight end matchup again this week, Dan. But guess what? So is Kenny. And before we even get into our predictions, is this the worst wide receiver 2 battle in league history of Christian Kirk versus Xavier Legette? This is a weird and rough matchup, Dan. I'll just throw it out there. I'm picking Kenny. Continually pick against Greg. Continues to bite me in the ass. But the long and short of it is this. Kenny has Jamar Chase. Kenny has Jonathan Taylor. Kenny has that Green Bay defense that's looking mighty good right now. I'm going to go with Kenny here based on the studs that are on his team, but I certainly, of all people, will not be surprised if Greg makes me look like an asshole yet again.
I'm going to go Kenny as well. Greg's team is pretty bad. I think he'll only win games when Jared Goff goes off and has monster games. Which, I mean, that could happen this week against Baltimore. Baltimore's defense, I mean, they got crushed by Allen. They let the Browns score like 15 points, which is a lot for the Browns to score. So, but I still think it'll be enough. I think Kenny gets the win.
Rob P., we see you in the chat. We were glazing your team earlier. If you just joining us, rewind the show a bit, you'll be happy to hear that we love your team. Dan, we only have two picks. 2 picks different this week. You're picking Terry. I'm picking myself. You're picking Rob Motz. I'm picking JR. Other than that, we agree. Eric is going to win. Steve Weiss is going to win. You are going to win. Rob P. is going to win. Kenny is going to win. As I mentioned, Dan, we are tied. So those 2 matchups will carry everything on as we wrap the show up, as we always do, with the game. Last week, Steve Horvath with a monster. Dan, last week was a shitty week for me. I made fun of how terrible Horvath is at the game, and then he comes back, picks Dak Prescott and Malik Neighbors. Neither one the top at their position, but both had great weeks. Beats me by 13 points. I thought I was going to have the win with Burrow and Chase. Obviously, Burrow cost both of us last week. Cost you a little bit more than he cost me. Mine was just a fun little game. But anyway, Horvath takes the win. That's 1 win for you, 1 win for Horvath in the game. Rob, Taylor, if you're still in the audience, tell me your favorite quarterback. Tell me your favorite flex play. Anybody else, drop it in the chat after the show. Let me know what you got going on. Dan, I got my 2 picked. I did not pick backups this week. So do you want to put me on the spot? Do you want to announce yours or do you want me to announce mine?
Go ahead, buddy.
All right. I already kind of gave you guys a clue here. I am completely bought in on the Chicago-Dallas game, and I think Chicago is going to struggle against Dallas. I'm going with the stack, Dan. I'm going with Dak Prescott, just like Steve Horvath, but I'm stacking him with his own wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Give me Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb.
Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Interesting. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey.
All right, give me a few seconds here. We got some audience. First of all, Caden, don't know who you are, but we're happy to answer a fantasy question. Just so you're aware, Caden, this show is completely set up for one singular league, our home league that is now 20 years deep. But Dan, Caden has a question: Jordan Love or Bo Nix? 2 quarterbacks that I started the season pretty high on. I'm a little bit more down on right now. Love has that Cleveland Browns defense, like you mentioned earlier in the show, Dan. Hold on real quick. Caden, not your bad. We actually have made friends this way. You are more than happy to ask questions. I work for 2 fantasy football companies, and my good friend Dan here is smarter at fantasy than I am. This is why we do this show together. So we are happy to answer lineup questions for you. My little brother chimed in as well and says, Knicks, don't start anybody against the Browns defense. Our league is very much a Cleveland Browns-centric league. We are from Northeast Ohio, Caden. But Dan, back to it for him. Bo Nix, Jordan Love, what do you think?
For the season, I'm definitely going Love. For this week, just because of the matchups, I would go Knicks. That Browns defense is legit. It's a tough matchup for anybody. Like I said, I expect that to be a low-scoring game between the 2 teams. Both teams have really good defenses, so I would go Knicks.
It's funny. I actually had one of my followers on Twitter ask me this exact same question, Dan, and I almost said word for word what you said. It's the high-scoring game for me. I like what I'm seeing out of that Chargers team, and I think Knicks is going to have to keep up with that. Whereas I do think the Jordan Love thing could be a lower scoring affair. I have Jordan Love as my QB 15 on the week. I have Bo Nix as my QB 9. So I would also go Bo Nix in this situation. So Caden, my entire league is here for you to say that we would start Bo Nix. We do this show every Saturday night, Caden. Feel free to follow us. If you ever have more questions, if we give you great advice, come back. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Dan, I'm going to have you give me your picks again because Caden threw me off in the chat, and I have other people's picks I need to get in. So who did you decide you were going to go with in the game this week?
Also, Caden, if we give you terrible advice, feel free to come back and make fun of us because we are terrible at this stuff.
Yeah.
And we also love a good laugh, especially if you're funny.
Yeah.
No, I took Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey.
All right. So LJax and CMC, and then let me get some of these from the chat here, Dan. Right away, our first pick was Taylor, giving us Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors. I think I got that one in. I only got Jones in. So Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors for Taylor. And then I saw Horvath and Rob P.
A guy he didn't even try to put on his team. Interesting.
Rob P, this might be his first or second entry into the game, goes with Michael Penix against Carolina, but backs it up with a CeeDee Lamb pick. That one's going to be interesting. And then I saw the Horvaths. Where did they go? Oh, and then Lamar Jackson and CeeDee Lamb. So lots of cross play in there, where depending on who works out the best could work out very differently for me, you, or Horvath, since all of our teams are kind of intertwined. Yeah, Dan, that is going to wrap up the show. Caden, I hope, oh, hey, he did. Thanks, Caden. We appreciate you, buddy. Like I said, we go live with this show every Saturday night just to break down our league matchups, something we do for fun. But like I said, I'm not afraid to say we do know our shit, and we do our best to help everybody out. Rob P says it's an easy win with Michael Penix this week. Dan, let me get the big thing off the screen here.
I love you taking a different guy in Michael Penix. I like it. I respect it, Rob. Yeah. I respect it.
Or was he talking about an easy win in fantasy this week? Because we did pick that for him as well. So,
I mean, we're really good at predicting easy wins, huh, Ryan?
Yeah. I will never refer to anything as a bye week again. That was stupid. I will. We both know my ego.
I know you will. You'll probably do it within the next month.
Yeah, I'll mea culpa this week, and then next week I'll be an asshole again, especially if I win, which I better. Dan, parting words for our friends.
I love you guys. I want to shout out Taylor again this week.
Back below 500.
With the results of last week, he didn't like being average. He's officially now below average all time. So congratulations, Taylor, making the league as a below average manager. Congratulations.
You're gonna get this guy so riled up, and then I got to deal with you guys in the chat.
Mr. Below average? No, don't worry about him.
As I do every week. I hope 12 of you have a wonderful week. I hope 13 of us overall have a wonderful week. But Terry, I hope you have a terrible Sunday. I know you got a lot going on right now, my friend, and I don't mean to pile on, but I'm taking this one. Fuck your team, fuck your wide receivers, and fuck you, Terry. Taking the W. That wraps up week 3 of the Massillon Fantasy League. For Dan, I'm Ryan. See you guys next week. Good luck, Caden. I hope you win.
All you did was just guarantee Terry's receivers are going off.
Good luck, Caden. I hope you do better than Terry this week, Caden. Come back and tell us if we cost you a win or if you got the dub in spite of us. See you guys next week.